onto pain relief. Okay, so this is part 1 of 3. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Okay, they're all my favorite, really. I love all of them because they work fantastically well for just about everyone. So this one is motor imagery. So I need to talk a bit about the brain and how the brain works a little bit and how the body works a little bit on this one, so that hopefully you can understand. Okay, this here is your frontal lobe. Okay, in front of your head. Okay, this is commonly known as the CEO. It's the boss, it's in charge. Okay, with motor imagery, we're going to be using the frontal lobe to send messages out to our body to do something, but we're not actually going to do it. We're just going to imagine doing it. And I'm going to teach you how that works. Okay, and then we're going to run through it. Okay, so frontal lobe, in there we've got something called the premotor cortex. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to remember my words. Premotor cortex, that lives there. Okay, if you can see the mouse, I'll get the pointer up so it's red. Okay, premotor cortex, that is roughly in that region of the brain. Okay, that then sends, so that's where we're using our imagination. So this works brilliantly for stuff where it's like, well, it's okay if I move my arm to here, but I can't really move my arm up to shoulder height. Okay, so it's there, oh, it hurts. Okay, I can't go any higher, it's painful. Okay. Or brushing my hair, I can't really get my elbow back here and my arm back here to brush my hair. It really hurts. Okay, I can get up to, okay, bra strap, ladies. Okay, pulling on trousers, bending knees, ankles. It doesn't work great on complicated movements like walking or running. They're a bit too complex for this to happen unless you practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. Okay, but it's really good for kind of simpler stuff like bending arms, turning hands over, maybe some sort of finger issue. Okay, so but it really works well on those kinds of things. So we've got the premotor cortex, premotor area. That sends a message back to the motor strip, which is here in the brain. Okay, the motor strip is what kind of formulates the message to go out to the body. It goes, right, okay, arm is going to bend by this much, shoulder is going to do this, hands are going to do that, head is, everything else is going to be in this position. Okay, X, Y, Z. Okay, it's going to be here, there, and everywhere. I'm just going to move on to this picture. So we're about here in the motor strip. That message gets passed down into the thalamus, sort of central areas of brain, the insular cortex, the limbic cortex, and then passed down the brainstem into the spinal cord, out into the body, and that message then goes wherever it needs to go. So if it's an arm or a shoulder, it comes out of the neck, goes out to the muscles and the muscles, tissues, and etc. of the shoulder, and then we get to choose. Okay, so often we go, okay, I need to move my arm from here to here. Okay, all the way up, all the way down. Okay, and you just kind of expect it to be pain-free, unless it's not. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay, so we've practiced this movement that's painful numerous times. Okay, you've been assessed, you've tried it out yourself, you go, oh, that hurts. Okay, so we've now got a memory of a movement that hurts. Okay, so we've got memory, okay, that's in hippocampus, that's in this. I was going a bit too deep here, okay, I don't really want to explain this kind of stuff. Okay, so what we do, I'll give you the technique. Okay, the technique is we imagine a movement. Motor cortex sends that message out to the body. Okay, whether you imagine it or actually do it, it's still sending that same message. So let's say it's my shoulder and it gets to here and then it hurts and I can't lift it up any higher because I don't want to, because it hurts too much. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to close my eyes. Okay, and then there's 3 things I can do from there. Okay, so that message from the brain comes down to those muscles that are going to move. We choose not to move them. Okay, but the message still gets there. Basically, everything has happened except for the movement. All the neurotransmitters, all the chemicals and stuff that's going to make that happen, they're there, they're ready, they're primed. You just choose not to do it. So what we're doing is we're removing the sensory feedback from the body that says pain. Okay, and we go, right, I'm going to picture that movement in a certain way. Okay, and there's 3 ways of doing it. Okay, so you can picture yourself doing it. So you're inside your own body and you're lifting your arm up and you're putting it down. Okay, you could apply this in any way that's suitable for you. Hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain, certain specific movements. Okay, it's not for As I said before, it's not for complicated movement. Could be for something like squats, something linear, something quite basic. So we're going to imagine that, okay, and I'm inside my own body, and I'm imagining my own arm lifting all the way up and all the way down, and it is pain-free and it is easy and smooth, okay, and these thoughts need to be going through our head as well, okay, so all these kinds of words and phrases. It's easy, it's smooth, strong, flexible. You might also want to imagine some sort of light or color coming from the joint, so it is emanating some sort of light. You can also add other senses like smell. So you might want to imagine your favorite smell, whatever that might be, whether it be fresh cut grass, whether it be fried bacon, fresh baked bread, whatever it might be. Okay, pick a smell and pick a color. Okay, imagine a gap in that joint, and it opens up, and all the muscles and tissues and tendons and everything there is free flowing and moving. It's almost like a waterfall. There's a cascade of movement, okay? And you're just going to run through that image and run through that image. Okay? Second way of doing it is imagine somebody else doing that movement. You're still going to have those same kind of thought patterns about ease and flow and suppleness and strength and color and shape and kind of gaps and all this kind of stuff. You're still going to have that as well, okay? But somebody else is doing that movement and you're watching them do it. So you might imagine me in my funky shirt doing that movement in front of you, and you're standing there watching it. Okay, and you go, that's easy, I can do that too. Okay. Or the other way is your which is very similar. Instead of being in your body, kind of doing it, you're outside of your body watching yourself do it. That's the one I use. Okay, so I'm up on the wall, I'm a fly on a wall, and I'm watching myself doing this movement, and it's free and easy and smooth. Okay, that's part one. Okay, so we use motor imagery to imagine a pain-free, simple movement. Okay, after that practice, you run through that for maybe a minute or so. You go, right, okay, I need to reassess. How does it feel now? It's much better, generally. Okay, what's the pain score? So hopefully you've tried that, okay, or you've taken some notes, and you're going to give that a go. Okay. So move on to the next one. Next one. Okay, this one's a little bit more complicated, but in terms of the science behind it. Okay, I don't want to drown you in science and neuroanatomy and kind of stuff like that. Okay, but I need to give you some sort of basics. Here we are going to be focusing on the eye. Okay, not vision. Okay, vision's a different thing. We're going to be focusing on eye movements. But we're going to use target practice. So if you can see here, all these blue lines, these are nerves that go back to part of the brain called the brainstem. So if I come back here, this one, so this is the brainstem. It's at the very top of the spinal cord. It's kind of pre-brain. Okay, so if we've got information coming from the body, it all travels through the brainstem. The eyes, the nerves, the nuclei for the eyes, where all the information is kind of processed and comes from, to and from, is in the top portion, or top of the middle portion of the brainstem. So the brainstem's in 3 bits. Okay, so we're in the pons, we're in the middle bit. Okay, so cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6 control eye movement. So left, right, up, down, and kind of there's rotational aspects to it as well. So we can get diagonal movement. So if we fire your eyes, that part of the brain kind of lights up. Okay. When we light up that part of the brain, the pons, okay, that also fires a descending, so from the brain out to the body, pain relief pathways. Okay, so serotonin fires down from the brain. Okay, and that's a neurotransmitter. It's produced in the gut, but it is a pain reliever. It helps you to relax. It decreases anxiety. Okay, so by using eye movements, okay, up and down, left and right, I'll show you 2 ways in a moment. We can fire serotonin from our brain via using that to relieve pain all across the body. Okay, it could be anywhere. You might want to try and focus it. Okay, right. Okay, I want to do it for my shoulder. I want to do it for my chest, wherever it might be for you. Okay, so here's what you do. Okay. target practice, as I said. Thumbs are great for target practice, okay, or fingers. Okay, but for me, thumbs are nice and easy. Okay, we can have thumbs up, we can have thumbs outside. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Okay. As a general rule, okay, you can start getting when I'm doing this with clients, I can start getting funky and putting it all in different places for people to look at to be more specific. But for you, okay, as a general rule, we just want to go in the middle, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, you don't want to do too many because it can tire out your nervous system a little bit. You can get a little bit sleepy. Your eyes might get a little bit tired from doing those movements. They're fairly quick, but we gain focus, 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 okay, and do 10, maybe 15, okay, as a maximum, maybe 20 eye flicks up and down. Okay, that's one way. Okay, you're getting bonus stuff here. Okay, so we've got three ways, but within each way, there's other methods as well. So we're already on 4. Okay, so this is number 5. Okay, so we can do near and far. So my thumb is the near target, and far is like an objective or something in the distance. Make it a specific point, okay, and it is at least a couple of meters away. Okay, so you look at your thumb, you look at something in distance, thumb, distance, thumb, distance, thumb, distance. So that works in a similar way to, you know, if you're on a boat, okay, in a ship in the sea, and you're feeling nauseous, okay, you're feeling seasick. Okay. What you're told to do is focus on something in the distance. Okay. That fires your parasympathetic nervous system. It helps to kind of calm everything down. Okay. Wrong. Scrap that. Looking in the distance fires your sympathetic nervous system. It brings you back up. Okay, so when you're feeling sick, that's your parasympathetics taking over. Okay, so parasympathetics are your rest and digest. Okay, and it's just fired up too hard. Okay, so you're doing all this rocking around on the boat, and your parasympathetics fire up. Okay, it's actually you're over relaxed. Okay, which is weird to think because you feel highly stressed and you feel awful. Okay, but what we need to do is fire the sympathetics a little bit, and then switch back to parasympathetic. So we're switching parasympathetic, relaxed, sympathetic, fire up, relax, fire up, relax, fire up, relax, fire up, and we're just switching between essentially off and on, or up and down, okay, between stress and relaxation, and we're just going to be balancing them out by firing them one after another in fairly quick succession. So bang, 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 bang. Okay, and to me doing it doesn't look like much because you can't really see, you know, what I'm focusing on. I'm just my thumb, the wall, my thumb, the wall, my thumb, the wall. Okay. So that's another way of doing it. Okay, and that's why it works. Okay, it is just bringing you back into balance. Okay, and that's what everything that I teach is all about. Okay, we don't want to be too sympathetic, too stressed, too anxiety, too fearful. Okay, we don't want to be too chilled and relaxed and blur. Okay, because eventually you just don't get out of bed. Okay, we want to be somewhere in the middle, firing on all cylinders. So this is optimal. Balance is optimum. We don't want to be too high up. We don't want to be too low down. Okay, so there's going to be times in the day where you need to be down, and there's going to be times in the day where you need to be up. Okay, and it's easiest to move if you're already in balance. So being in balance is key. Let's just check my notes, see if I've missed anything there. Okay, that's going to help with breathing. It's going to help you to kind of both methods are going to help you to kind of just bring everything onto a level. Next one. And this is, I would absolutely say this is my favorite because it's so quick. It's so easy. Okay. So easy. Okay, really, really quick. Okay. I call it pinch and tickle. Okay, for you guys. Okay, it's we call it in my world we call it the kind of the nociception, just like the pain relief exercise. Okay, it's really like, it's not a trick, okay, but neurologically this is what it's doing. So this is a patch of skin in our body, and then this is our spine and spinal cord, okay, and that the DRG is the dorsal root ganglion. Okay, long words, DRG. Okay. So the green one is what we kind of commonly think of as nerves. These are myelinated nerves. These are fast communications that kind of for muscle movement predominantly. Okay, that's kind of, so I want my muscle to move. That's the green one working. Okay, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. It's the green one. And then we have the blue and the red. Okay, these are C fibers. These are more slow reacting. they are highly linked in with chronic pain. So this really works. This technique I'm about to show you really works with chronic pain conditions, things that have been going on for a long time. Okay, numbness, tingling, aches, pains. Okay, it's a really handy trick to have up your sleeve to make things go away quite quickly. It even works on scar tissue. So scar tissue, let's say you've had surgery or some sort of accident, you've got scar tissue, and that scar tissue is going to be in these layers of tissue. So these nerves, the red one, the blue one, potentially there's some damage or they're being squeezed, okay, by some sort of swollen, enlarged tissue because it's been cut through, because it's been just damaged in some way. It might be blunt force trauma like a punch or a kick, okay, or a fall, you know, and you've landed and hurt yourself, or it might be a surgical scar like a C-section, or you've had some sort of operation. I can guarantee these are damaged because they're everywhere and they're just cut through or they're damaged. Okay, you can get numbness, tingling. Okay, you might even lose your hair in an area. Okay, I had a client who, after an epidural during birth, okay, and subsequent emergency C-section, this is weird. Okay, a part of her leg stopped growing hair. Okay, and it felt weird. Okay, so if you were to touch it, she said it described it as like spider's legs going down it rather than someone actually kind of stroking it or touching it in some way. She couldn't perceive, her brain couldn't perceive that area of her body correctly. Okay, until I came along and did this, and within about 2 minutes it was back. Okay, so her daughter was, I think, about 6 at the time. So for 6 years she hadn't felt this portion of her leg, and kind of as a bonus, she didn't have hair there. Okay, on this kind of 2-inch by 6-inch strip of leg. I did this treatment on that area of leg. The pain or the sensation returned to normal almost instantly, and then within a couple of weeks hair was growing back. Okay, I only ever did that once for her, and it was a fairly instant change. Okay, within seconds. Okay, there were tears. It was a good one. Okay, not mine. So I'll describe the technique now. So as you can see, the red one and the blue one are fairly superficial. They're near the surface of the body, so they're in the skin. So what you're going to do is very lightly pinch the skin where you have a pain or an ache, something that, or a tingling. It works really well on those things. Okay. Pinch the skin lightly, okay, just in a few places. So you're just going to move around the area above and below just slightly, and then directly on where you're getting that ache. Okay, don't go too large. Okay, let's just keep it kind of like tennis ball sized. Okay. Then what you're going to do, we're going to fire that serotonin again. So we're going to touch on the inside of the eyes. You can then touch on the outside of the eyes. Okay, so literally onto the eyeball. Okay, the edge of the eye socket, and then touch in behind your ears. I'll just come into the camera so you can see there's a little divot just behind your earlobe, about a centimetre or 2 back from the earlobe. There's a little divot there. Press that. Okay, so inside of the eyes, outside of the eyes, divot. Come back to the same area that you pinched or tickled, and which arm was I on? Okay, and you stroke it. It is soft and slow. Okay, not this. Okay, because doing it too hard, too firmly, too fast, you're firing the green one. Okay, you're predominantly firing the green one. Okay, we don't want to fire that one. The problem in this case, we're looking at the red and the blue. Okay, and they're going to respond best to stroke. Okay, so the pinch triggers them, says to the brain, look here. Okay, there's a pain signal. Okay, and it's pretty small. Okay, so there's a light pinch. Okay, you're not digging in. Light pinch, eye, behind the ears, stroke. Repeat that 3 or 4 times. Okay, as far as I'm aware, you can't do that too much. So if you need to go back to that throughout the day, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 times, I'd be tentative to say do it any more than that. But 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the day, you can go back to that and just reduce pain in that area. I could say it probably won't work forever, okay? Because once they've been then stimulated and kind of normalized, if there's still pain there, then there's other things to look at. But that's what the health sprint, and that's what my membership stuff is for. So if I give you these things and there's still pain, then we need to look deeper, more at an emotional kind of level of things, more on a physical side of things as well. Okay, so